This is something that has bothered me for years when working with my Cricut. Have you ever had a score line that just doesn't line up right in the center of your card? It was centered perfectly in Design Space, but when folded, it clearly isn't in the middle. The problem shows up when you're writing with a pen, too. If you see here, the word Happy Birthday was centered in the offset, but it didn't draw that way. So I'm going to show you what you can do to fix it in Design Space so that your score lines and your pen lines end up where you want them to. In Design Space, make a rectangle that is 2 inches tall and 3 inches wide. Change it to a light color like pink. Now add a score line and make it 2 inches long. Select them both and center horizontally. Add another line and rotate it 90 degrees and make it 3 inches long. Then you can actually select all of these things together and hit Align Center, and it will center everything up. In the Layers panel, hold Shift and click the 2 line layers, and then duplicate. Drag it off to the side and change the color of the centered lines. We'll do that by changing them first to pen instead of score, then change them to a red color so they'll show up against the pink. I'm also going to label each quadrant so that I can keep track of which direction is up and which side. So I'm going to add text and just make an A, B, C, and D and drag them to each of the corners of this image. When those are in place, select everything like this and flatten. You can find the flatten tool over here in this big toolbar, or it appears underneath the image when you select it. The final thing we'll do here is take these score lines that we dragged off to the side, and you're going to align to the center of our flattened image, and then attach. So now this is all one print. It's going to score the lines across the center, and it'll cut around the outline of the pink rectangle. Now click Make, then you can click Continue and click Send to Printer. Click Print and then Done. Choose the copy paper as your material setting, and then if you're using a maker, it defaults to using the scoring wheel anytime you have a score line in your project. So you need to click Edit Tools and select the stylus, then click Apply. Load the stylus into clamp A and proceed with the cut. The machine will scan the registration lines, it'll score the lines, and then it'll cut around the rectangle. Take off the test paper and fold along both of the score lines. We're checking to see, is there any of the printed color visible? If there is, then it is not lined up exactly in the middle. So I can see here I need to move my vertical line a little bit to the right, and the horizontal line needs to come down. Back in Design Space, make 2 more copies of this test rectangle that we're working with. We're going to adjust each of these line layers a little bit for each rectangle. So in this first one, click on the image, hold Shift, and click the 2 line layers. And while the 2 lines are selected, on your keyboard, tap the arrow button to the right once, and the down arrow button 4 times. Or if you find that your score line needs to go to the left or up, then move it accordingly. On the next rectangle down, again, select just the 2 line layers and change the number of arrow taps by 1. So for instance, my top rectangle is going over to the right 1 and down 4. And again, these are just the arrow buttons on my keyboard. The next one down, I'm going to the right 1 and down 5. And then for the bottom one, I'm going to the right 1 and down 6. And then just make sure that you select everything and click attach. The reason we're doing that is so that they print and cut in order, and so we can label them after they come out on the mat, and I'll show you what I mean. So you do the print and cut just like before, and before you peel them off the mat, you're going to take a pen and label, like draw an arrow to the right with a 1, or an arrow down with 2 or 3, or however many you did, so that you can keep track of which print has which number of arrow clicks. Okay, so when that is all finished, I can check each of those cuts. 6 is too far down again. See how you can see this little sliver of pink? And that's part of why we did this with a print then cut on white paper, so we can see if there is color showing through. Sometimes if you just do this on solid cardstock, it might be hard to tell if it's lined up on the edges or not. So taking the score lines and clicking it once to the right and 5 times down is the winner. And since I do have the maker, I went ahead and ran the same test for the scoring wheel, though I really don't use it that often because you have to swap it out with the blade, and so it can slow down your project. I found that the scoring wheel lines need 1 arrow tap to the right and 2 up. So it was a different direction than the pen and the scoring stylus. So that was just kind of interesting. Now you can save each of these papers somewhere as a reference guide, so that when you're going to draw something with a pen or put a score line, you can see how you need to adjust it in Design Space before attaching. So understand that it's not a perfect one-time fix, but there is at least a way that you can systematically go through and see how you need to adjust those layers to get them where you want them to go on your final project. If you have any questions about what I did here or why I did it, make sure you leave a comment and I will answer you. And I hope that this helps solve this problem if you have had it too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.